2001 4.3 V6. Gonna do an intake manifold gasket. All right. What you want to do is you want to raise it up, go underneath, drain the oil, okay, and then put a pan underneath it. Leave the drain plug out, so that way whatever goes into the engine fluid-wise will drain out, okay? All right, so once you've done that, get it under there. See my pan, okay? Disconnect your battery. I disconnected my positive because it's a little bit easier to get to, and side post always full of corrosion. And it's been a while since I've done one, but need to move the air cleaner upper part. So you got a wing nut, you got a hose, breather tube, you got your mass airflow sensor, and you got a intake air temp. Undo that, get it out of the fasteners, remove the upper part of the air cleaner. Got the Phillips heads in there, hopefully they come loose. And we'll see what's next. Been a while. Next, you want to remove the serpentine belt. Make sure you draw a diagram. Tensioner's over here. You gotta use a 3/8 ratchet. Go like that with it. Push the tensioner in that way. Remove the belt. Remove all the connectors from the AC compressor. Got one here and one in the back over here. And you can start unplugging your throttle body. Make sure you use a little screwdriver to help remove them. And you want to remove the linkage. Got two bolts, two nuts holding this on there. Lift it up, then you got a stud bolt there and another bolt down there on a stud. So this one could be loose. And you got one more right here. There's two nuts and a stud bolt, nut. Okay, next you want to undo the linkage, but the cruise control cable, I think that's what this is. Got a little clip in there. They're a pain in the butt to get out. Sometimes you break them. But I'm going to remove the throttle body anyway, so I'm going to just take the throttle body with the linkage. So it's all comes loose with it. Okay, I like to have it off of it. But if you see that clip, get that out of there before you can pull that off the little tab. But you got your one in the back, gotta move that. That goes onto a stud, which is an 8 in the back of the throttle body. And you get your two front ones that are a 10. Okay. So then we'll just take that whole thing, we'll set it off to the side. And you can clean the throttle body up now. Also, you get access to it. Next, you want to remove your ignition coil. Has these two studded 10s on it. All right, set that off to the side. Next, unbolt the AC compressor, 13s, 4 of them. I'm going to stay in there because it hits the line. You can get a socket on a little bit, just have to bend the line a little bit. All right, just pick it up, put it off to the side. One of the things you got to have out of the way. All right, next you want to do is remove the fan shroud. 7-10 millimeters. Yeah, you're going to ask yourself, why did I do this and why did they do that? Next, you got to remove the cooling fan. I guess you could have waited on your serpentine belt until after this. Been a while, like I said. So I used my impact chisel, hit on the side of it, and I held the pulley, and I broke it loose. Now I can just unthread it. I'll turn the water pump and hold on to the fan. That way I'm not flinging the fan and having the fan fall off and hit my radiator, and then it costs me more money. Reason for this is because of I need to get access to this hose. Got to take this pulley off, get to that hose. I need to take this bracket loose from the front of the engine so I can get to my intake bolts. Need to take the heater hoses off, remove the spring clamp or clamp, and I get my pliers on the bottom of it like that, and I'll wiggle it back and forth just a little bit and see if it breaks loose. When it breaks loose, I'll work up my way up a little bit more and break that loose. Now that's broke loose, now I can twist it back and forth and pull up on the hose. And I took it out of this retainer, and now I gotta undo this one. So I work my way on it. See how the leak it's leaking? And just work it way up. So now it's loose all the way. So now I can go ahead and pry that hose up off of the water pump. And I didn't drain my coolant because I'm just gonna let it drain out the back or the front under the ground into a pan. It's just a pain. I guess I could undo my little radiator hose on the water pump right there. Be a little bit more easier for me. I'm gonna do that. Next, take the two 13mm head bolts out of the thermostat housing and remove your hose from the radiator. Okay. Next you want to do is unbolt your AC bracket. Has a bolt, a nut. Right about here, there's another bolt. And about 3 inches down from there, there's another nut. Okay, it goes on a little stud against the block. Then you want to unbolt your Torx right here, T30. Invert Torx. And then you can take this and pry it away a little bit so you can get access to your intake. All right. If you want, you can go ahead and remove another bolt over here on the side. It's down there. Right there, actually. But hopefully I can get by just doing this. I've always just removed them in the past. So, all right, moving on to the next step. Spray this down with some penetrant. Let it soak, because you need to take that out also. Next, you want to unplug your injector spider assembly. You pull this up out. There's a little tab you bend out, and there's also another tab on the inside behind here. There's another one. And you can wiggle it, pull it straight up. See the tab, and a tab, just like these. Just careful not to break them. All right, and still got another sensor to disconnect here. Use a little screwdriver, 2 hands. All right, don't forget about your booster line. You just go ahead and disconnect that from there. I'm gonna have to untwist it so I can get it off of the intake. See, I twisted it. That notch was in there, I twisted it, so now you gotta twist it all the way over here till it stops. And then you can wiggle it back and forth and pull it out of the intake. It does come up. It's just an O-ring in there. Maybe spray some brake clean in there. Or some penetrant. Down there alongside the head, there's a coolant temp sensor. You want to unplug it. See, it's blue. That's the little rubbery part of it. I unplugged it with a long screwdriver. Pull that up out of here so that way you get a little bit more room with this wire harness. Do the same thing with the breather one. You just turn it and you lift it up. Little brake clean on there. Helps it come off. Next, remove the bolts out of the vapor vent solenoid. If you want, you can go ahead and push the white tab in there and then separate it. All right, my pipe is frozen on my nut. Let that soak. Gonna remove these two, 13, 10. Remove my wires from my cap, remove my cap. And then I need to remove the two lines and the fittings in the back there. And then we can keep on going. All right, the Torxes are a T30, oh, T20. 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 Careful, they do fall out. All right, you got your cap off. Now what you want to do is go ahead and mark your distributor rotor to your distributor and mark what direction that rotor is pointing. Then you can remove the hold down. Right there's a 10. Pull the whole thing up. The rotor will turn because it has to go into a gear, and also it goes into the oil pump drive. Just remember, this is critical, okay? Don't get it back in the right spot, you're gonna have a problem. As when you pull this distributor up, the rotor turns, and also this oil pump drive turns. So just be aware of that. Okay, my hold down is out. On this particular one, the hold down stays with the distributor. So I'm gonna pull up on the distributor. See how that rotor's turning? Kind of get a mental note of where it's pointing when you remove it. Okay? So you can go ahead and mark where it's at, pointing to. So when you go down, you'll be able to at least get it close. Okay? The camera's got different angles, but anyway, so now I can pick this up, grab it out of there. And there's a gasket on the bottom of it. So make sure you put a new gasket on it. Okay? And then also what you want to do is you want to look at your gear. Make sure there's no abnormal wear, not all shiny. If it's all shiny, then your oil pump's going bad. And camshaft worn also on that gear. All right, now remove, these are 5/8, break them loose and unthread them. Okay, and then pretty sure that it's bolted down through the intake. Right there. See the 10mm head bolt? So hopefully we'll just pull off the intake. The 8 bolts holding it in. I don't think there's any bolts in the center. I think they did away with that, pretty sure. All right, if you got your EGR pipe out, great. Mine's stuck in there. So then remove your 8 bolts, hold the intake on. They're 13mm heads. Make sure you clean them up before you go back together. I got to that one with the 13mm 1/4 inch. All right, so now you can pick the whole thing up as assembly and pull it straight out. Me, I'm gonna have to pick it up with that hose connected and try to wiggle it out of there and see what I can do with it. Nothing else I can do. Okay, I can't get it. I've been using an impact for vibration on it, like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it flush, and I'm going to get a barb and then use hose clamps to go around it. Okay, cut it flush. I hope. Okay, there the old nasty thing is, huh? Nice intake gaskets, huh? Nice. All right, so what you want to do is pack this full of rags. So any debris falls down in here, you'll hopefully catch it. All right. do that next. You'll get to that later. All right, try to catch as much dirt as possible, clean it up, blow out your ports, blow out your bolt holes. All right, now all I need to do is just spray some brake clean and wipe it down. I'll spray some brake clean on my rag, just that way the dirt will soak into the rag a little bit and not fall off. Okay, I blew it out with air gun, blow gun. Sprayed it down on the sides a little bit with some brake clean, and then I hurry up and douched it with a bunch of oil, okay? And I wash all the dirt down below, and then if you keep putting more oil in it, then I wash it right out the pan, hopefully. And the drain plug is open, and I got a pan underneath it. All right, the intake is clean. Make sure you blow it out, blow gun, clean out your bolt holes, get all this stinking antifreeze dried up in there. Okay, the intake's all cleaned up. It's ready to go on. Make sure you clean out your bolt holes, get all the crusty antifreeze out of it, blow out the ports, wipe it down really good. But if you're gonna do the upper intake, now's the time to do it. And I'm in question. Remove the 10. Remove the 2 8mm nuts. Make sure you blow this out and clean it out from around inside there. Don't want no dirt falling in there. And that goes like that. Get that out of there. Put some pension in there so you can help pull that thing out because it's got O-rings on it. 2 per each. Pretty sure. My mistake, the O-rings are inside there. Been a while, like I said. Try not to bend those. Try not to get any dirt down in there. All right, to remove the upper, got these 2 that were already removed for the evap. Next, you remove the other 6. And you just kind of pick up on it and pry this up. Try not to chip it, because there's an O-ring around that. Yep. There it is, there's your seal. And you clean that area up, and there's your O-ring. Just go ahead and clean that surface up. Put the new seal in there. Put some lube on that seal. Put some Seal Glide. And then we'll go back together. Surface clean, new O-ring on with some Seal Glide on it. Surface clean and Seal Glide inside there and push it on there straight, okay? Okay, you got it on there. Push it down on it evenly. Makes that noise. And then go ahead and put all your bolts in and snug them up. You still got 4 more bolts to put in there. So just get them all snugged up. I'm gonna torque them to like 100 inch-pounds. So, all right, put some Seal Glide on your tube and stick it in there evenly. Try not to cut your O-rings, but the ends are beveled, so good luck. Okay, it's all together. Make sure you clean this surface up. Don't touch it after you clean it. Same thing with the heads on the block. Clean it, don't touch it. And then what you want to do is get your gaskets. Put your gaskets on there. Put a bead of silicone right there. Nice good 3/8 inch blob on the runners. I like to put a little bit of silicone, just rub it on the coolant passages on the heads and on the intake. And I stick a little bit in the corners before I put my intake down. All right, I'm all set. Got a little bit on the runners. One motion, pick it up and put it in there. Boom. Make sure you get your, maybe hold that out a little bit if you can. All right, I got my intake in. One thing I forgot to tell you is to double check you had your O-rings on your lines for your fuel lines. I forgot myself. But anyway, when you're putting your intake in there, make sure you get the lines put in. Get them stuffed in the holes. And then go ahead and line up your bolts. Start all your bolts. Snug them all up. And then you can go ahead and you can torque them. Okay, the intake bolt torque is 35 foot-pounds, crisscross pattern. Also, the upper plenum intake is 88 foot-pounds, 88 inch-pounds, 90 inch-pounds, okay? All right, I got my fuel line started and I got them tightened. If you can't get them started, you have to take the bolt out, possibly take them out of here and wiggle it and so you can get them both started and then shove it back in there. Just make sure everything goes in there straight, okay? Next, I'm gonna do my distributor. Don't forget your new gasket. All right, I put the distributor right in there. I got it down in there and I got that rotor pointing to my mark that I marked when it was out. And I slowly pushed it down and it lined right up, man. Man, did I ever get lucky. I didn't have to walk that oil pump shaft around at all. So it's all looking good. And once you put, on this model, once you put the bolt in there to hold down, that's where it automatically gets to be, because you can't turn the distributor because it's got that hold down built into it. All right. If you're gonna replace the distributor rotor, use a T15, it's a real small one. And when you put the new rotor up on there, make sure you get it centered down there and it fits down there and it's centered. And then put your little screws in there one at a time, snug them up. Do not use the new ones. The new ones come with Loctite on them. And what I've seen most of the time was I stripped them out. So save your old screws, try not to lose them. All right. If you're installing a new cap, make sure you reuse your old screws because the new ones are really long and they got Loctite on them. Your distributor is only plastic. You'll strip them right out. So snug them up. Make sure your cap is not wiggly after you tighten it up. All right, and make sure you put your coil wire on there. And now you can put the rest of your plug wires on it. And we're ready to go back together. All right, hook up your evap solenoid, plug it in, bolt it down, plug it in, map sensor, plug that back in, put a little clip in, put your brake booster in. Remember, you gotta line it up here and then turn it counterclockwise. Same thing with your PCV, line it there, turn it counterclockwise, hook up your vacuum line, hook up your PCV. I'm not hooking up this yet, or my bracket from my throttle cable, because I need to fix that. All right, so now I can go ahead and put my coil on and my throttle body, replace my gasket. Got my coil bolted up. I'm gonna wait on my throttle body. I'm gonna do my bracket. Got your heater hoses on. You got your EGR plugged in. You got your coil plugged in. Get your coil wire, put it over the top. All right. Now all I gotta do, throttle body, AC, fan, belt, shroud. I need to fix that EGR first. That's where I'm at now. All right, I got my EGR tube prepared. Hopefully it don't leak. But anyway, now all you want to do is put your thermostat in, get your bolts started and snug them up. I put a little bit of silicone on my seal. Now I put my throttle body in there with my new seal, get your bolts started, and then now you can go ahead and snug them up. I got my thermostat in. And then after I get that done, then I can work on my linkage. All right, throttle body's on and the brackets are on. Remember, that one's gonna have a stud it, and went over with a nut, okay? I'm not gonna put the AC compressor in yet, so I'm gonna hook up my little radiator hose, put my fan on, tighten that, and then I can get my belt kind of routed in there. And then I put my shroud on, and then I put my AC compressor on. Now get your fan in there. You got the fan in there. Get your serpentine belt routed. We're ready for the AC compressor, but I put on the shroud, got that all bolted up. Now, get my AC compressor in there and get that bolted up and get my hose on. All right, serpentine belt is on, air compressor's on, got it plugged in, the 2 connectors. Don't forget about your coolant temp sensor in the back by the spark plugs. Got my hose on. Everything else is looking pretty good. Now what I'm gonna need to do is go ahead and put my air cleaner on. And then I need to raise it up, put my drain plug back in. Don't forget about your air cleaner extension for the back of the throttle body. Drain plug is in. I put 4 quarts of oil in it because I didn't take the filter off because it's a brand new filter. So I'll start it up, see how it sounds, and then I'll double check my fluid for my oil. All right, mine's sounding pretty good. Now what you want to do is you want that sealer to dry 24 hours. So tomorrow, go ahead and put your coolant in it, run it, double check your fluids, make sure you get it hot, make sure it's got heat, and then that will complete it. That would be how you do your intake. All right, hopefully I helped you out with this video. And if it did, hopefully you can help me out by subscribing to me, and I appreciate it. Thank you.